Hey everybody, I'm Curtis, and this is Goth Rider Creations. Thank you so much for stopping by the channel, and welcome to a fretboard build for a friend. So, first off, I would like to profoundly apologise to Todd for that butchering of his accent. I thought I was good at American accents. I watched the edit. I discovered that unless it's maybe Italian New Yorker,
forget about it,
or Bubba from the trailer park,
I'm doing pretty good.
I'm not very good at accents, so profound apologies, sir. Now, a little while back I did a tutorial on how to make your own micarta resin fabric fretboards. If you've already seen it, then you know. If you haven't already seen it, please go and check out the playlist. It's a great watch, very instructional. But what I didn't mention was that those fretboards were for Todd. And unless any of you don't know Todd, Sweet Tea Guitars, absolute legend, nicest guy in guitar making, absolutely the sweetest guy ever. Has done quite a few giveaways on his channel, guitars, tools. He's even given parts and equipment and tools to other luthiers who he felt needed them. So, loveliest guy on the planet. And a while back he offered to send me a little care package, and I said, well, I'll never say no, but only on the proviso that I can send you something in return. Now, you know me, I don't have a great deal, but I did float the idea of making him some fretboards, and he was very excited, and he said, yeah, let's go with denim. So hence why all of those fretboards that I made were out of denim. Now, there was one I didn't show you because I actually wanted it to be a surprise for Todd, but now he's got it, I can show you guys. Now, I showed obviously how to layer up the individual layers, so then when you sand back the radius you'll get a nice kind of layered effect. I showed you the scraps, and then I showed you the end grain ones that I made. What I wanted to do was what I call a deep pour fretboard. Now, I'm going to show you the process here. It is actually quite simple. The main thing that I did is I actually made a fiberglass core for this. Now, the trick with these kind of fretboards is that most people like a 7mm thick fretboard-ish. Some people like less, some people like more. 7mm is about the average. Now, with a really steep radius, say, you know, a 7.5 inch or a 9.5 inch radius, you're going to be taking down between 2 and 2.5 millimeters on the outside edges of the fretboard. So you need to be quite careful with the amount of resin you've got. So in order to get a 7mm fretboard, you need a minimum of 3, possibly 4mm of resin to actually make it work. So all you're getting is maybe 3-4mm thickness of the actual substrate, so you need to be very careful. Now, the fiberglass core was literally there just to add a bit of strength. As you can see, that is literally me cutting up fire blankets. Be very careful if you use the really old ones, if you find those, because a lot of those have asbestos. But if you know where you're getting them, it's a very cheap way of getting fiberglass. So I just layered up a couple of layers and then set it into a mold, which is essentially a IKEA shelf, laid in with some tape, and then you put down the fiberglass core, you spray on a little bit of contact adhesive, a very, very tiny amount. You don't want it bleeding through the fabric, but you do need to lay that down and secure it very well, because when you pour in the resin, you're actually going to have a lot of lifting of the fabrics. Now, I also made a nice little emblem for Todd. Anyone knows him knows his phrase is peace and love. So I scrambled around online and managed to find a heart peace symbol. So I very poorly made a gilded version. And then I just poured on 5mm of resin. And as you can see, this is the result. It's not perfect. The resin was a bit difficult to get the right layers, but I'm really proud of it, and Todd has now seen it and he says it's absolutely awesome, so I'm really glad you liked it, mate. Now this isn't a long tutorial. I showed you a lot of the mold making process already, so it's just kind of showing you what can be done. I have had some people asking me about carbon fiber fretboards, whether that is an option, and that is definitely an option. The only thing you need to be careful of is, again, if you have multiple layers and it's solid all the way through, you're going to get a nice lightweight fretboard, especially if you put some pressure on there to get rid of the excess resin. The problem you're going to have is, one, sanding it off. You don't want to be sanding carbon fiber if you can help it. That stuff will kill you worse than asbestos. And secondly, you're going to lose a lot of the really nice grain and the weave patterns that people like in carbon fiber. So this is going to be the best option. If you literally get some carbon fiber fabric, a simple mold like you saw, put in 2, maybe 3 layers of carbon fiber, wet it out really well, and then just flood it with maybe 4 mil of resin, then you're going to get a really beautiful carbon fiber fretboard that you can safely radius. You can put in your frets, you can do whatever. Another bit of advice, especially with these fully poured ones rather than the ones with all the fabric incorporated within, you need to be very careful when you fret it. Now, I haven't fretted one of these boards yet, but I've been watching a few tutorials of other people who have been making resin, just resin on its own fretboards, and you need to be very careful. If you hammer in a normal fret or press in a normal fret, you will actually crack the resin and then everything else will go to hell. So what you want to do is you either need to cut your fret slot a little bit wider and then glue, resin, whatever, add something to get those frets to hold in there, or grind off the tangs on the underside of the frets so you've just got the metal and not the spikes poking out, because that kind of pressure is what's going to make it crack. So bit of advice, everyone, if you're going to try this, be careful, because I've known a couple of people that have ruined fretboards or having to do patch up jobs, so you don't want that. So yeah, it's a short little showing you of what the fourth of the fretboards was. Todd, I'm glad you're happy, mate, and can't wait to see you using them in a future build. Also looking forward to anything, mate. I know you've been away for a while, so it'd be great to see you back online. And yeah, if you've got any questions or anything, if there's any other fretboard fabrics or builds you would like to see, please let me know. I'm happy to carry on making some weird and wonderful stuff. And yeah, thank you very much as always. Please subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps the channel. It doesn't cost anything, it's a click, so if you wouldn't mind, I would really appreciate it. Throw us some comments, let us know what you think, and I'll see you all in the next one. Take care.